The lady yelled at me, and then my next door, I literally actually, guys, out loud, like I prayed, please let this next person be nice to me. But she was like so drunk. Like, and I was very uncomfortable in her house. I got in my car, I called Addison, I was like, I need to come home. I'm clocking out.
I would get up and leave in that situation too.
Trying to convince somebody that has already chosen to misunderstand you does not deserve your time. That
With you gaining the experience, the same at 40 hours you're working, your value increases. So you'll put the same amount of work in, your eight will turn to 10, right? I
Yeah.
think I think you're on pace to have a 10 grand month in January. So I would up each of these probably about 2 to 4 thousand, honestly.
That's
Um
scary.
yeah. Have more faith in yourself and following with existing process, sorry, I'm terrible at reading.
You got
Yeah,
this.
that's good. Review the scripts. Reviewing the scripts, yeah, taking as much action as possible, tracking your numbers, it's standard, logging it on Broker 360, which is yet again.
I'm working on it. The corporate business world is so hard for me because I went from like a stay-at-home mom. So I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm getting used to it and I'm gonna work on it.
no, me too. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, and it's definitely on my priority list. Log everything in Broker 360 because I don't want to be the guy to take a call from a client and have no clue what they're talking about.
Yeah,
So
that's already
they'll put
happened to
themselves.
me.
If they're calling you and you don't know Deborah who, and you can't type her in and find her policy. If you're
Yeah.
already on the verge of a chargeback, you just confirmed it, right? But if you see a number pop up, you go on broker, you tap in her number, you see who it is, the policy. If you got everything just like on point as soon as she calls, you probably saved it, right? Chief marketing
This
sales.
part, I don't even think I did this right. This was
Yeah.
like random.
I'm glad that you did it.
I love that she put future assistant on there. That's something I should have done in my first year.
Well, I guess if you think about it, I mean, I had the question asked to me for an agent, what do I need an assistant for? And well, what is the thing that is your constraint? So, for example, if you think about it, staffing could be somebody to clean your house. Okay, Allie, right? And so, whatever it is that's your constraint, so that it could create more family time, then that's what you want to pay out.
Actually, do have that right now.
When you're thinking of staffing, it's all the things that you don't like doing that you could pay somebody else to do. I've got an executive assistant, didn't get that until I was RVP, partner probably, junior partner. Didn't get an events manager until this year. A $5 virtual assistant from onlineph.net or .com, whatever it is. You can get a $5 assistant to check all of your emails. Or if you don't like tracking your numbers, she could also do that for you as well. If you don't like social media marketing, she could also do that for you as well. Editing videos, you could spend $200 a month to have somebody do that. If you're consistently making that $10,000 a month, right? Or
Absolutely. Yeah.
$5,000 a month, you could
Yeah.
allocate funds to that.
That's great, guys.
But in the beginning, I think that it's to allow somebody to think a little bit outside the box. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you got to spend 20% in marketing. You could spend 5%. For example, well, that we have other platform for that, but it's just to allow you to start thinking and to be very, very smart with your money. So keep going there.
Yeah, going back to the family time management too, just spend the time with your family that you like spending, right? Because I mean, there's times with your family you'd rather not be there when it comes to like,
Yeah, every day.
yeah. So whatever it is you don't like about spending time with your family, that's where your staffing would come in, like Ashley said. So that's a really good point. So I mean, you've been in sales, like even as a yoga studio owner. So what's really holding you back as a constraint when it comes to emotional hesitation? Because that's a big one.
I feel like it's not super big for me, but I do feel like sometimes I let like my people pleasing come. I think what I meant by emotional is like my emotions, not really somebody else's emotions. So like I feel like I have some traits that I'm still working through as far as like being in sales. Like I've always been kind of a people pleaser. I don't do well with confrontation. For example, like that incident today, like instead of like Eric, you said you would have just turned around and walked away, but I felt like knowing my personality, I had to like explain myself. I feel like I let my personality kind of get in the way, and I want to work on being like loving but also super straightforward because I
Oh,
like wander a lot. Like
yeah.
I'm sure Ashley understands what I'm saying. Like, I'm just a girl with ADHD. So, like, emotionally, I just mean my emotions. Like, my headspace sometimes gets in the
Yeah.
way of my presentation sometimes. And I feel like I just want to, like, go in there, do the 5 minutes of the connection and then get straight to the point. Me, I'll be in a house for 2 hours and I'm like, chit-chatting about my dog from 10 years ago. And I'm like, I need to not do that as much.
Well,
So
Ashley, yeah, I mean, she definitely understands. That's why she's big on talking about, your energy is your currency, right? So, I mean,
yeah,
her more than anybody would be great whenever it talks to like how to realize what isn't worth your emotional energy, right? So, getting mad at the
correct.
door. Like, if I spend too much time arguing with a crazy person, I'm not going to be happy the rest of the day,
No,
probably.
that's literally what happened
Yeah,
to me today, and I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I went home. I went
yeah.
home. I was
Mm.
like, the lady yelled at me, and then my next door, I literally actually, guys, out loud, like I prayed, please let this next person be nice to me because I had dealt with like mean people all morning. And that was the lady I texted you about, Eric. Asha, I won't get into it, but she was like so drunk. Like, and I was very uncomfortable in her house. I was literally like, I got in my car, I called Addison, I was like, I need to come home. I'm clocking out. And I was just
I mean, just value your energy. But yeah, there's nothing stopping you from getting up and leaving if you're in a situation where someone's belligerently drunk. I wouldn't sit there. Not only that, it's like
I
even if
got
you
out
were
of
to
there.
write, even if you were to write a deal, right? They're incoherent. Like it protects you. You don't want to deal with people under the influence. If like don't ask, don't tell. But if you smell alcohol on their breath and they're obviously
Oh
drunk,
no,
yeah, at
she was
that point,
drinking a beer. Like I
yeah,
got out of
yeah,
there.
I would get up and leave in that situation too.
Let me
Before
interject real quick because I want you to hear something for me, okay? Let me share my screen with you.
If they never asked for your side of the story,
my phone
then the
charger
side
went
that
back.
they heard is exactly how they feel about you. Never explain yourself to people who are already dedicated to misunderstanding you, because curiosity is a form of respect. And when someone doesn't even ask, they're telling you they've already made up their mind. Silence on their end isn't confusion, it's a decision. A choice to believe a version of you that fits their comfort. Explaining yourself to someone like that doesn't bring clarity. It only drains you and delays your peace. Not everyone deserves access to your truth, especially those who listen only to respond, not to understand. People who want the truth will seek it out. They won't rely on assumptions, gossip, or half stories. And when someone chooses misunderstanding, no amount of explaining will suddenly make them fair. That's when self-respect steps in and says, I don't need to convince you to see me correctly. Let people believe what they choose. The ones who matter will ask, listen, and care, and the rest were never meant to hold your truth anyway.
The reason why I shared that is because I think it's pretty important that we understand that even your energy trying to convince somebody that has already chosen to misunderstand you does not deserve your time, your energy, or even your truth. We lost an agent today on Caden's team. She went back to the old company that she was at. It was funny because the response I wanted to give this girl, because she tried to recruit Caden. I know, right? Big mistake. But here's the concept. He just responded and said, I understand. I respect you. Have an incredible best of blessings to you. And in my brain, I'm like, dude, you need to be a little bit more bolder, a little bit more courageous, not be mean, be kind. But then later I called him and I said, hey, I wanted to understand, the response that you gave to this agent. Because I gave this agent to him. I felt like I owed it to him, but then also I felt like I owed it to him to say something. He was like, Ashley, it really doesn't matter. And then I'm like, fudge, you are exactly right. Why would I want to try to convince this person that's already made a decision to misunderstand
Yeah.
this company, this culture, our lead system, to go back to a company that she hated? Best of blessings to you. I asked him, I said, what was your one word for the year? He said, transformed. He's like, I don't want people to even recognize who the freak I am at the end of the year. It's pretty powerful when you think
I
about it
like
like,
that.
yeah. And the reason why I say that is because isn't that what we want? But how many people are afraid to physically just be that person that they could be proud of, but they're afraid of the people pleasing. They're afraid of what this person would think about me. I feel like it's so freeing, Allie. Remember what we told you when those employees of yours were mishandling, mistreating you? Remember? And
Yes.
I said, you need to put your foot down. You got to be
Yes.
told this is your company. I remember reading this thing and how, how women, they go, I don't know if men do this, but I know women do this sometimes, where they get out of an abusive relationship or a relationship that just was not healthy whatsoever. And then you look at a lot of their relationships and they're unhealthy. It's like they want to fix people.
Correct.
Point is this, is that I see this with managers. So Eric, I know that we saw this earlier today with a manager that this agent left the company. Thank the Lord, because we were going to let this person go anyway, because their character didn't align with our standards. They felt bad. And I'm like, what? This person walked all over you, cursed you out, was a complete jerk to you, why would you feel bad about he made the decision to leave, go see the door? But because they knew each other, because they were friends, she felt that she had to owe him something. Are you kidding? My point is this, is that you feel like you have to prove yourself that you're worthy of this person that could potentially be evil, choosing to misunderstand you and taking your time, which is value.
My thing is, like, I swear I take the energy. I never used to believe in stuff like this, but energy transfers, and I know for a fact, Eric literally said this to me. I remember he questioned me the other day because I was like, I had this guy who like interrogated me at the door. Like he was just so skeptical and like thought I was trying to scam him or something. I don't know. And Eric was like, "Well, do you bring that skeptic, like the skeptic energy with you to the door?" And I don't think so. But I kept thinking about it. I actually mentioned it to my therapist too. I was like, "Is there something I need to like do?" And she told me that the energy carries from like if that woman yelled at me and I was all, upset about it, the next store that I go to is going to be the same result.
I would
Yeah.
only say once a week you're going to get a disgruntled senior or a potential prospect. So my question to you is, what are you going to do when that happens again? Which it will.
I feel like I'm slightly getting more, like I said, I've never worked sales. I've never had to deal with this kind of stuff. So I'm
I'll give
learning.
you a kind of what I like to
Yeah.
do. We're
Tell
all,
me.
we're all Christian here, right?
Yeah.
Hey, if it's gonna cost me my energy and energy is my currency, give it to God. He's
Hey,
gonna fight that.
facts.
He'll fight that battle for me. I already forgot about it. If you're talking about transfer and energy, don't let it be yours. Like give it.
That's very true. Never thought about it like that. Yeah.
Don't you think that he knows what you're going through? Think about it. If he
Yeah.
knows every hair on your head before you're even born, you're telling me that he doesn't know exactly what's going to happen within the next 5 feet of you knocking on a door? This is one of the reasons why I don't operate out of fear when I walk outside my door. When I step into my vehicle and push on the gas, there's 2 feet away from me and the other person on the ongoing side of traffic. Why do people drive their car? When you're predicted by stats to get into an accident 3 times in your lifetime, but you still get into your car, don't you? You're not afraid to get in your car. But why would anybody have fear of knocking on a door when it's just a human? In other words, they have a story just like you. But the way that that person treated you, one thing I've come to realize is that hurt people hurt people. Let me ask you this. What were your deposits so far for December?
Yeah, I left that blank because like it was a little confusing. I know I kind of touched on it with you, Ashley. I've deposited like physically deposited into my account around 4,000. I have a lot. I have my biggest sale is still pending. Me and Eric checked on that last night. It was like
It's an issue with that. No, they're just backed up on underwriting. They should have. She said, I don't want to tell you for sure, but it's probably going to be done before his first payment's due. I think you're pending like $1,200 commission or something on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting. How long has it been in pending?
almost a month.
What the? Okay, you need to text me on the side that policy number. We don't have a rep with Aetna, but I do have an insider, if that makes sense. So whenever there's like a wonky thing like this, no, what I'll go through her.
The client is literally amazing. He probably doesn't even care because he has a huge term policy on him right now. This was just extra. So, I mean,
Okay.
that's a good thing. Yeah, he was super easy to deal with. But yeah, so 4,000, I have the 1,200 pending, and then I have like four core bridge policies so that I'm gonna get paid on first draft. And then I did a term policy which I need to submit. That was for my husband's employee. I
Okay.
need to submit they're kind of being weird about my husband. Okay. My husband owns the landscaping company. He is going to be paying for his crew leader. It's like his main guy. He's going to be offering the life insurance as a benefit. And like the insurance company, Transamerica, came back to me and they're like, why is the business paying for, like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that.
So I want to say key man policy. That's what you say. So
Okay.
it's a key man
Okay.
policy. So it's the employer that's paying for his employee.
This is on your husband?
No, this is my husband's employee.
Oh, I was going to say that would be like a Milner Group. Is this something you're working on? Wouldn't that go through
Yeah.
like Milner Group, key man plans, stuff like that, where they do?
So my husband and his father own the business together, so they are very interested in doing key person.
'Cause that's like $10 million policies, right? Like,
Yeah, I think they're pretty expensive. Yeah. The one that I did was just term. It was just 250,000 term.
Oh, okay.
like 30 years or something through Transamerica.
Okay.
But yeah, so I wrote that one. I have actually, I think I just did my fifth core bridge, but she paid day of. So hopefully I'll get paid tomorrow or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
When was that written,
Yes.
by the way?
Which one?
The AIG that paid the first day.
Yesterday. Yesterday afternoon.
It'll take probably about 3 or 4 days.
Oh yeah, then yeah, that
Got
one was like that was a small AP. It was probably like a little under $200 commission. And then me and Sosa wrote. I'm still waiting on to be paid. I wrote Royal Neighbors last week with Sosa. That's a pretty big one where it was like a over $1,200 commission, but we split it. So I'm waiting to get paid on that.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been doing.
Your,
It's just yeah.
what was
Go
your
ahead.
average income that you're bringing in with the yoga studio?
Oh, negative.
I know that you put money up front to run the business, but
Correct.
regardless of the loan that you had, aside that, what was the money that you were able to bring in per month? Or you kept having to pay
So I
out?
actually didn't I didn't have a loan. My
Okay.
husband paid cash or probably
Failing and preparing.
$2,000.
Okay, that's great. I mean, it's a start, right?
Yeah, no, but it was rough. And like my rent was $2,000.
Okay. So check this out. Here's a little bit more peace of mind. The average business owner out there takes out from 2024 a loan of 126,000 to start their own business. Secondly, they have a 98% chance of failing within the first 3 years if they don't have a franchise. You have
That's
a franchise, aka a system that's been proven, like us, like Chick-fil-A, like Walmart, and you buy into a franchise, you have a 96% chance of succeeding. The girl that just left on Cadence Company, the number one reason why she left is because she did not like, this is the first time I've ever heard this, a corporate setting. And I'm like,
we
what?
don't have a
I know.
corporate setting.
But the reason
You
is
could go. Yeah,
I
I would
know.
have tore her apart.
Oh my, again, but she did not like the systems of somebody, and brand new agent, by the way, didn't like the fact of us having systems and us inspecting for her to do it the right way as an agent. I know that you wanted to build a company as well one day. Can you get mathematically driven to understand? I love it when you said this was my AP of 11,000. This is my $81 of average monthly premium that's coming in. If you know that, do you have any idea the predictability that you can have when it comes to your income? If your closing ratio is 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4, whatever it is, you can go into any day, sharpen that saw, get it down to 1 out of 3, and then minimize that time that you're in a home where you get 5 presentations a day. That's your goal. That's your
Oh,
goal.
I'd love to get 5
I wish
presentations.
you would have texted me and Eric. A lot of people don't do this, but when they do and they call me in tears, then they're like, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. And then I listened to him and then I said, now go to one more house. You don't think that the enemy is trying to come after you right now? Because he knows how big your purpose is and the impact that you've got. So here's another thing. Feel free to write this down. You get paid to handle problems. You want to get paid more? Okay, well, now go handle bigger problems. But that being said, metrics. If there was something I would have done differently in the beginning in 2015, I wish I would have had a broker 360.
Yeah, right.
Okay, start your day. How many hours? So are you doing that? Yeah. Like you start your day, bam, start day, you're out on the field. Does that
If
make sense?
yes, I have been doing that. I don't think I've been doing that. I know when you start a presentation, it does it for you, I think, right?
So when you get into your car and you start doing call aheads, start your day. Let me show you this real fast, okay? So, and I think that this is, Eric, name an agent that you feel like is a pretty good like example, let's say.
Pretty much everybody's been. I mean, even you, Allie, you've been on point with it. As far as like tracking when I started my day, I couldn't really tell you. I don't know how to check that, but logging sales, mostly everybody is on point with it now.
So if you look at this, right? Now, I'm not telling you to track this, but I'm telling you to track this. And this is where Broker 360 comes into play. I get to see this kind of a tracker every single month, every single week. So I get to see rhythms and I get to see
What is this? What
Oh,
am I
this
looking at?
it's just a team AP tracker. So for example, I've been tracking this for years. Okay. So for
Oh,
example, like I can go back all the way to 2021 and see what we were doing and realize trends with people. So for example, we did this with Michelle Johnson last night and we were able to see, okay, I'll just use Brady. Okay. Brady's a good example. Okay. Brady is a wonderful example of what to do strategically, but it's like cycle driven. In other words, 4,000, 4,700, 7,000, 2,500, probably Christmas week, 5,700, right? Now check
mhm.
this out. if I go to November and I click on Brady, every single week the guy is doing 4,000 AP.
Holy cow.
Now,
He's a
okay,
monster.
okay, but here's the thing. Let me go to October. So, in other words, when we're looking at how is it that somebody could be predictable in their nature? The guy's been on string, on sprint every single week. He's predictable. The guy's 20 something years old, but he's predictable and he's also building. But
What
I
is up with him and Jay? I'm like,
they're they are massively disciplined and they just go after it. They wake up at whatever 5 or 6 a.m. They go to the gym, they work out, and then they go to work. They're obsessed with it's not their job, it's not the NSB, it's the result of it. They're so grateful that they have a platform that can create an income, and they both have very, very big whys. National sales manager, where Eric is, to RVP. It is the hardest, most refining season any agent will ever have. It almost feels somewhat, if you can get out of this 90-day learning curve, Allie, and that's what
yeah.
you're going through, you're creating posture, you're being reformed, you're being transformed, and you're seeing what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate. But then also realizing, hey, what can I do differently? Not better. What can I do differently so that I can get a different result? When Eric talks about protecting your energy and protecting that, that is the number one reason why we do what we do. Obviously, for our legacy, for our kids, they need to see their mom when that mom comes home at 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night. When she comes home, all they care about is not what time she comes home. All they care about is what is her response, because I want to tell mom all about my day and how you are positioned. It ain't fake. And that's the difference, is it's got to be so real, because you leave that shiz, what happened today, you leave that shiz in the car, because
Yeah.
that's going to happen because you get paid to solve big problems. Donald freaking Trump, look what the fudge he had to go through this week.
I
Holy
know, insane.
balls. And imagine the dude didn't even look stressed the freak out, right? I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's like, all right, I'm sure the cartel's coming after me. You know what I mean? Like legit.
I don't know how he survives. I really don't.
However, what did he do? He wasn't tolerating it anymore. And so it's not even, he doesn't even get paid. He gets paid 250,000 freaking dollars a year. Come on. We put him in office so that we wouldn't tolerate bullies globally. And
Correct.
so what are we doing if we're trying to make multi-millions of dollars? What are we doing? Now, if I look at your numbers, and again, we've only got December to look at.
I know it was a little hard to do my
No, no,
2025.
no, no. I think that, I mean, I love it. Allie, okay. Oh, perfect. This is great. Okay, bear with me one second. Check this out. So here's Allie, right? Okay, now you are also coming in at a very, I'm not gonna say the word hard, but you're coming in at a moment where you've got two back-to-back biggest holidays of the entire year, where people don't just take one day off, they take an entire week off for New Year's, they vacation, then you got Christmas. Therefore, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, because it was 2 holiday weeks, kids are out of school, etc. I can't give you a proper diagnosis, but if it was a normal month, I would tell you that there's a cycle, but there's not a cycle right now because I need data. I need another month of data to really be able to see it goes like this. Like they'll have a 4,000 AP week, and then the next week they'll have two. Next week they'll have five. Next week they'll have 1,500. I need you to stay consistent. Let your wins just win. Your lows be okay. What is it? What's that quote, Eric? Don't let your highs be too high, your lows be too low. Just stay even kill.
Be
Makes
like
sense.
water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool hand Luke.
So, like, I do feel like maybe you guys can give me a little bit I know we only have 10 minutes, but a little
Fine.
bit of insight on this. Like, I feel like
Talk to me.
I'm very I'm very used to the demographic we work in because that's literally all I dealt with EMS. So, this job actually, believe it or not, is very, very similar. It's just a different, different thing I'm doing, but I'm working with people that I'm used to. But it's been very hard. Like, I feel like I get so close, like in a presentation, and like, I'm not trying to be rude. Like, I'm really not trying to be rude, but like, these people do not have their shiz together. Like, I will literally get to the end of the presentation, and they're like, this happened to me 2 or 3 times. Oh, I don't have my account number. I don't know my account number. I don't know who I bank with. And I'm
Uh,
like,
90% of the population doesn't have their stuff together. So
it's that this is true. This is true. But I'm just like it's been so hard. I feel like I've been like chase. It's like I get all the way to the end. I feel like I need to like
Okay, so
somewhere in my
benefits
presentation
check,
throw.
the benefits checklist. Inside your benefits checklist,
Okay.
within 10 minutes of you meeting the person, On that benefits checklist, it says, is Social Security paying you on time? Is that the first of the month, the third of the month? Is that going direct deposit in your bank account or green direct express
Yeah.
card?
Yeah.
That within 10 minutes, if they tell you, I don't have a bank account. So what do I need to do? I need to condense my time and what? Move up to 5 presentations, get the freak out of the house so I can increase my numbers that within 10 minutes they're like, oh, I don't have a bank account. Cool. You want to go get a cheeseburger? I'll start it. We'll go ahead and you get to open up free checking account at Wells Fargo right
I
now.
did that. I did that.
I remember that because I remember telling you and you made that sale, right?
I did.
Okay. Again, it's those little tweaks, but you asked for help, didn't you? And instead of you leaving, you took the in and up, you did the in and up, and I said, get that dude a cheeseburger and go freaking start a darn checking account.
I didn't tell y'all what happened. I regret taking that lady to Golden Corral.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I would have told you not to do that. But again,
I
time. It's your time. That's so valuable.
Well, I went there the next day because the boyfriend wanted a policy, and when I went there, she asked me to take her to Smithfields.
That's be like, no,
I was like,
I'm
no.
so busy. And you
Yeah, I
are.
got 3 appointments. Just come up with some because you probably will if you try it. You know.
Oh
Come
no,
up with
I was like,
something
I gotta go.
relevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear. I know there's not much to like compare to because I've only been here for 1 month. I think one thing that there's a big goal that I did not write on this paper.
Well, then give yourself a goal. So in other words, I would say, I'm sure that you guys probably have the money to upgrade to a car, right? But you have 3 kids.
Oh,
You're gonna
yeah,
make,
it would be a downgrade because my car cost an arm and a leg.
I would make it a goal. Before you make a big purchase like that, I would ask me and Eric. That's one thing I've done with Jordan Smith and Greg is before I bought a house, before I bought a car, a boat, they always ask me what was in your savings. I do want to ask you this one thing, okay? What is your goal for the year? Okay, so let's say, for example, business wise, what promotional goal do you want to hit?
Oh, well, I haven't really thought about this. I
Say for you, Allie, like I would put district sales manager by the end of the year is definitely achievable. Yes, so that's senior broker, executive broker, district sales manager. There's 3 promotions.
Well, that's my goal then. I'll work on it. And I would also like to eventually like bring some people on, I guess. I'm
Yep.
gonna be picky probably.
I'd say you definitely want to hit a promotion before you do that. Now you just had a kid, it's just going to give you like an extra motivation to hit that promotion because now you got added responsibility. And you don't want to be the person to where they'll out promote you, but you hired them.
Does that
So
happen?
it can. Yeah. I would definitely say a good incentive if you are looking to go ahead and start building is, if some, you don't have to reach out directly to anybody if you don't want to take it too quick. I did. I had 5 people on as soon as I started in my second month. So I had a huge incentive to hit those promotions. You know what I mean? So if you're really
Oh my
looking for
God.
that extra push, it'll give you a lot of added responsibility and pretty much force you to, lock in. And that might mean, like 60-hour weeks to hit that first promotion, but it's not forever. You'll feel really good about it. Set you up for management career. But if your goal now is just to hit those on your own, that's completely fine too, because it is a lot on your plate at once. I loved it, even though it sucked at first. But Ashley helped me out. I would help you out just as she helped me out dealing with that load. So the weight's not on you. It's not on you until you hit sales manager, really.
Let me show you this just real fast since I've got about 1 minute, okay? Just so you can kind of see a little bit of what net AP. So I want you to write this down. Submitted AP. So
Okay.
submitted,
Right there.
issued net, submitted, issued net, submitted, issued net, submitted, issued net. I'm going to take Brady, for example, and I'm taking November. You've got 2 columns here, and you can see that the weeks are at the top. So week 30, week 31, week 32. This is something that we get from the corporate NASB. So all they
Okay.
do is get all the numbers from the carriers. That's it. Okay. And then they
Okay.
import all those numbers and then they break it down for every single agent. So if I take, let's say, for example, Brady, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to go towards October. And I know this might sound a little confusing. Okay. So let's say, for example, he does in October about 25,000. Okay.
Okay.
You see issued, sum of issued for
Yeah.
week 41 was 43.39. Sum of net was 29.48. Do you
Okay.
also see in week 42 that he did right here in week 42, 5,006?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the sum
Yeah.
of net was 49. So you get promotions based on your net. So if you go back to like the only, and I know this is where it'll be confusing, the only carrier that does true issued fall off right now is Mutual of Omaha and Transamerica's IGO Immediate Solutions. Okay.
Okay.
Mutual of Omaha counts true fall off 100%,
Okay.
which means that if you get a charge back in December, it's going to count against your numbers for Omaha. Even if the chargeback happened and you wrote it 5 months ago, if you get charged back this month in December, that's going to affect your December numbers for Mutual of Omaha's net.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For Transamerica's immediate solutions product, also counts as true fall off. Everybody else, everyone else, Rural Neighbors, America, everybody else, it's anywhere from 25% off the net numbers automatically because that carrier does not give us true fall off.
Okay.
We hoped and prayed that every carrier for 2026 would finally get their act together and be able to have the technology like Mutual of Omaha has to be able to what? Have
Mm.
true fall off for us. Because that's the beauty, is to have a true fall off so that we can really see how great an agent is. But because we don't and can't, we have to go based on averages, which is 25
Oh,
to 30% off of your issued numbers.